This program is brought to you by Emory University.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our very first orientation webinar. My name is Tanya Willard. I'm the Director of Orientation here at Emory College. And on behalf of everyone in the college, I want to thank all of you for joining us. We know that for some of you, it may be very, very early in the morning. For some of you, it may be very, very late at night. But we're really excited that you're taking the time to join us here at Emory this afternoon or this evening or this morning. I also want to recognize any parents or families that are joining us today. We're really excited to have you here. And I also want to give a special shout out to Kevin Williams, who had his wisdom teeth taken out today. We hope you're doing really well. So before we get started on our first webinar, I want to tell you a little bit about what we're going to be doing tonight. Tonight's topic is residence life and housing, and we're going to take about 30 minutes or so and go through a presentation. And I have a colleague here from the residence life and housing staff, and he will be going through the presentation, and at the end we will be saving time for a live question and answer at the end. If you have questions, there are lots of ways to get in touch with us this evening. You have already probably noticed the chat box to the left of your screen. You can use that chat box to ask questions, and we have several members of our staff who are here, and they will try to answer as many questions as possible. You can also tweet us questions at ECAS Orientation, that's ECAS Orientation, all one word, and we will do our best to answer questions there as well. Just a word about the chat box. Please use the chat box for questions that pertain to this webinar only. I know that you're really excited to be in a space with your future classmates, and you are really excited to finally sort of be meeting each other. But for the purpose of our webinar and to keep this moving smoothly and so that we can answer as many questions as possible, please use the chat box only for questions about this webinar. If you have general orientation questions, you can always email those to us at ecorientation@learnlink.emory.edu. We're going to try to get to as many questions as we can tonight, and if we miss your question, we apologize. We're going to get lots of questions tonight. We'll do our best. But if you still have questions when we're done, there will be a contact page at the end of this presentation with the Housing Help email address, links to their website, and all of that information. So if we don't get to you, don't worry. We'll do our best to get in touch with you as soon as we can. I think with that, I am going to turn it over to our presenter, Ryan Roach, who will introduce himself.
Well, thanks, Tanya. It's really a great opportunity for me to be here and speak at you, because I can't really speak with you over the camera. But it's great to have this opportunity to share some information with you, answer any questions you may have, and help you prepare for your arrival in August. With that, we'll get started. Again, my name is Ryan Roach, and I'm one of the assistant directors of Residence Life. And my main role in there is to coordinate the first year at Emory program. So we'll get started. We've designed a full year of programs and to create an experience to help you transition from high school to your first year of college. And then, of course, from your first year to your second year of college. And we do this by staffing our floors with resident advisors and sophomore advisors with different programs that will focus on these three areas. We'll help you connect with the community, and I don't just mean the Emory community, but the Atlanta and surrounding Emory community as well. From there, we'll also have programs and opportunities to help you foster academic success. We understand that you're coming here because Emory is one of the top schools in the United States, and we really want to make sure you have a great experience while you're here. And the academics will help you and have a great time. Finally, like I said earlier, to understand those transitions that you'll be going through, not just once you're here on campus, but how relationships change. You'll be meeting a lot of new people while you're here at Emory, and we want to make sure you have a great experience. In order to do that, we've also made sure to create a pre-arrival questionnaire that we need to make sure that you complete before you arrive, obviously before you arrive, and that'll help us design things that will cater directly to this class, you all. We've started this over the last few years, and it's really helped us create something unique for each incoming class. Some of the programs that we offer to focus on those three areas that I talked about on the previous slide are listed right here. Many of them are social, many of them are very educational based, but we try to get a good cross section of things that will help you have a great experience. I'm sure that if you've been on YouTube or have talked with current Emory students, you'll hear about Songfest. And I would encourage you to just Google Emory's Songfest after this webinar to see some examples of what previous buildings have done for that. We also have plenty of opportunities for service on and off campus. That's done through the Emory Cares Day, which is primarily out of volunteer Emory office, but as a residential student, we help you participate in that and some of those projects. Certainly, we understand that you want to be successful academically, so we try to bring the faculty to you. We'll have occasional dinners in our buildings with faculty that will help you create a connection with them and potentially give you a great opportunity to find a mentor, an informal academic advisor while you're here. So in case you want to find out more information right now while you're viewing the webinar or afterwards, which is kind of what we would prefer since we're going to go through a lot of this stuff, this is our website. If you really just want to find out general information about housing on campus, go ahead and visit www.emory.edu/housing. This website that you see right now is specifically for our first year at Emory. So we'll have some of those programs that we listed on the previous slide. Certainly, please pay attention to this slide and make some notes of this. Many of you have already been asking questions about room changes. Well, by August 1st, you need to have submitted that room change. We'll go over that a little bit more in another couple slides. The big day that you've all been waiting for is August 25th. That's when we welcome our arms to the newest class of 2016. And you'll be starting your first day of classes not too long after, on August 29th. The day after that is Songfest. Be ready for something absolutely incredible when you're here. It will blow your mind, and you'll remember those lyrics and those moves for your entire undergraduate career at Emory. Freshman semi-formal is another great opportunity to go out with your friends, get dressed up, and just have a great time. We do that at the Fernbank Museum of Natural History if you're familiar with the Atlanta area, but if not, look that up. You'll be dancing with the dinosaurs that evening. Certainly, we're looking quite ahead, but to make sure that you have the best information possible, please make note of those December 20th and January 13th dates. That'll make sure that you've made the appropriate arrangements to leave campus and return at the correct times. We would love for you to return on January 13th because this year we'll be having the first year at Emory Summit from the 13th through the 15th. We'll be having some programs there that will talk about academic success, finding leadership opportunities on campus. Some of you may be interested in getting involved in sororities and fraternities. So we'll be working a lot with upper class students and other offices on campus to provide you with some good opportunities to learn about what you can do in your second semester and then, of course, into your second year at Emory. The other thing to make note of right here is some of you may have heard or may be aware that we will be placing move-in time, or we've assigned move-in times for your arrival on move-in day. Those will be posted on your My Housing page by the middle of July. We don't have an exact date yet, but we're working on those still, but expect that midway through July. So here's another big question, here where we get to the frequently asked questions. What do you need to bring to campus? Please visit those websites and look at those lists of what to bring and what not to bring. Some of the things that you may want to bring, and please coordinate this with your roommate if you're living in a double. Your TV, we all want to be entertained. We all need things to do to unwind. So that might be something you want to consider bringing to campus, but don't feel like you have to. We do provide Emory cable in every room, so you'll have some options for channels and whatnot. Certainly, a computer. We provide wireless internet in all of the residence halls. We do not provide a wired connection any longer. So just make note of that if you're purchasing a new laptop or if you're using your existing equipment, just make sure it's wireless compatible. Other things to consider bringing are trash cans, a mini fridge, which you can also rent, and we'll give you that website in a little bit. Things not to bring certainly are pets. Unless they're fish and they can survive underwater, not something that you want to bring to campus unless you're saying goodbye to it on move-in day. A mini indoor grill like George Foreman grills, candles, space heaters, plug-in air fresheners. Those last few things I list off of things not to bring, because it really is up to you to help us maintain the safety of you and your friends while they're in the residence halls. Those can pose serious fire hazards, and so that's why we ask you that you not bring those. In the past, we've suggested that you may want to bring a telephone with you for a landline, but we don't have landline phone connections in the rooms anymore, but they are available for purchase. Instead, we do have hall phones on every floor in every one of our residence halls for your convenience. The other question on here that we've been seeing quite often is, can you move in early? Only those students in the approved programs, and you'll receive notification if your program is approved, may move in early. All other students should plan to move in on the 25th. Even if you arrive on the 24th or the 23rd, we cannot allow you to see your room before the 25th, because we'll have our staff in training those days, and we won't have adequate security to allow the buildings to be open for everybody to view their room. We get many requests for that every year, and it's just something that we cannot provide at this time. Another thing for those who are traveling from far off distances are how to get your items here. Well, you can begin shipping those items around August 17th, and that's the address and information that you should use to make sure that those items arrive on campus. The box number that you'll be sending your items directly to will be posted on your Opus account starting on August 1st, so please be sure you check that then. Another question that we often receive is if you can request a room change. Please make sure you request those room changes through your My Housing page. Everybody should have received an email late last week or early this week about your housing assignment. If you receive guiding you to the My Housing page. We do recognize that there are some students which had an assignment listed as TBA. We're working through many things right now to ensure that every student does have a space on campus, because you are guaranteed a space on campus. So even though it may say TBA for now, you will receive your assignment shortly. Here's the information that I mentioned earlier about your your refrigerator. You can bring a mini fridge which needs to be less than 3 cubic feet, and you can rent those through that website, Collegiate Concepts. It's a great website. We have a great partnership with them. They will deliver the micro fridge to your room prior to your arrival, so it will be there. Standalone microwaves, however, are not allowed, and that's because of the electronic capacity, the voltage in the rooms. We've had situations where students have had so many items plugged in to a couple outlets that it's blown the circuit. So please make sure that you follow, or that if you do want a microwave, that you go ahead and rent it from Collegiate Concepts. The other big thing that the students often ask are about their meal plan. Everybody needs to eat, so where can you eat, and when can you start eating on campus? Your meal plan will start when you arrive on campus and receive your student ID. The Duck Cafeteria will open on August 25th, but so will other dining options. So if you want more information about dining on campus, go ahead and just search on Google or another search engine for Emory Dining, or simply go to emory.edu/dining. Of course, many of you may not have had the opportunity to take a tour on campus, but now that you know where you're living, you may want to know what your room looks like. Every room is different, but most of them are pretty uniform in what we provide in that space. Everybody has a bed and a mattress, a dresser, a desk, a chair, and some closet space. That may be a wardrobe in the room, or it may actually be a built-in closet. There are sinks in every student's room, but there are also sinks in the bathrooms, and in those bathrooms there are showers and the regular facilities that you may need. You can also view 360-degree pictures of most of our hall's rooms by visiting that website, and that'll show almost every room. Some of the other buildings don't have that on there, such as Hamilton Homes, simply because it's just been built and we haven't had an opportunity to create that, have those pictures up online yet. So now really is the opportunity that we're going to try to get through a lot of the questions that you may be asking if we haven't had an opportunity to answer them yet through the chat. I'm going to go ahead and take a second just to answer a few that I didn't list in the presentation, but often are asked by students who come onto campus. Many students and families are coming here because of the reputation of the safety at Emory. We offer many means to provide you with a safe environment on campus. The most visible of those are the blue light telephones that you'll see scattered around when you arrive. We also offer a system where you can call in and they will come pick you up and provide you with transportation to somewhere on campus. We also have and that's called the Safe Ride transportation. We have different shuttle routes on campus as well that will get you from different locations based on where your needs are and where you may need to get to at a specific time. But at this time, we're going to go ahead and start taking some questions from here, and so please ask away.
Okay, Ryan, I've been keeping track of some of the questions that have been coming through already, and one of the questions is, are first-year students allowed to have cars on campus?
That's a great question. First-year students are not allowed to have cars on campus. There are not enough parking spaces available for you, but we do provide shuttles that go around the Atlanta community called the Emory Experience Shuttles, and those are sponsored by our student organizations.
Okay. I've got a question here about what if they have allergies? What accommodations can be made for students that have particular allergies or things like that?
If you have any allergies or any medical needs that you want to make us aware of, please don't email Housing Help with that information. We ask that you please contact Access and Disability Resources in case they need to make any necessary arrangements for you. And that also helps us provide the resources you may need while you're on campus.
Okay. Let's see. Can you talk a little bit about the support that students in the residence halls have, maybe the RAs and SAs, and kind of how that works in the residence halls?
Sure. As I said at the very beginning of the presentation, we have resident advisors and sophomore advisors on every floor, and those will obviously be on the floors that you're on. So the resident advisors are either juniors or seniors in Emory College or the business school or even the nursing school in some cases, and they're great resources and provide you with some great opportunities to get involved on campus. Our sophomore advisors are just that. They're sophomore volunteers who are living in the residence halls, and they'll really serve as your peer mentor throughout the year. They've just finished their freshman year, and so they have a great wealth of knowledge about what successes they had, what issues they had to work through, and really helping you with that transition.
Great, thank you. There's a question here about asking for, hold on a minute, let me back up because I think this is a follow-up to what you were just talking about. Now there's a question about what kind of support do you have for parents? We've got some parents joining us tonight, and I think they're curious to know what kind of support that you may offer them.
I think that's a great question. We know that the parents are a large partner in how we can help the students succeed while they're at Emory. So we certainly welcome any questions from our parents and families before you arrive, when you arrive on move-in day, and even if you just have general questions throughout the year. Your best point of contact will be our main office, and that information will be put online in a little bit. And I don't mean that to just send you to a general number, but it really helps us kind of point you in the right directions. We know that our number is often very widely publicized, but we want to make sure you receive the best information you can. My information is on our website as well if you just search for my name later on. So please feel free to email me or call me if you have any questions as well.
Great, thank you. There are a couple questions about transportation on campus, I think in reference to the car question. I'm a little behind with the follow-ups. One of the questions is if there is a fee for the Emory shuttle, and there is no fee for the Emory shuttle. And there are shuttles that go all around campus, that go to the Claremont campus. There are shuttles that go to the grocery store. There are shuttles almost every weekend that take students off campus to different locations around Atlanta, such as Atlantic Station or Piedmont Park, to go ice skating. In the winter, we actually do have ice skating here in the winter. And so those are available as well, but all of them are free. A Another question about transportation is about biking on campus, and I don't know if you have any thoughts about how popular biking is on campus, especially for first-year students who cannot have cars.
That's a great question. Bicycles have actually become much more popular among students over the last few years. So what we've been able to do is provide many spaces on campus where you can store your bikes in undercover. We do allow bicycles in the residence hall rooms, though we discourage that just because of the amount of space they can take up, but also some of the dirt that can be tracked in behind them. So please make sure that if you do bring a bicycle, you consider storing it outside in one of the under an awning or in one of the parking decks, and please make sure you bring a lock with you. It's one of those realities that items can be stolen if they're not secured properly, so please make sure you have a lock with your bicycle. The Emory Police Department also offers opportunities to register your bicycle with them in the case that it is stolen. So please make sure you consider that after you arrive. The Emory Police will be available to do that both on move-in day, but we'll also have them come by the residence halls in the first few weeks while you're on campus, and that's when you can register your bicycle and really any other belonging with them. iPods, laptop computers, anything that you consider of significant value, please consider registering with the Emory Police.
Great, thank you. There have been a lot of questions about international student orientation and move-in, and I will go ahead and tackle some of those at the same time. There have been some questions about when international students can move in. International student orientation is August 23rd and 24th, and those students who are participating in that program can begin checking into their residence hall on Wednesday, August 22nd, beginning at 8 a.m. We will do check-in throughout the day, probably until about 10 or 11 o'clock that night. So please try to arrive during those times, and we are going to do our best to pick you up at the airport. You should each have a link to a survey in Blackboard to let us know when you're arriving. If you have not filled that out, please do that so that we can pick up as many of you as possible at the airport. There was a question in there about international students and food because as Ryan mentioned, the dining hall and the meal plans don't start until Saturday. International students will be fed both Thursday and Friday, starting with breakfast. You will not starve. We will be feeding you. So don't worry about that. We'll make sure that you are taken care of. I think that's all the questions I've seen about international student orientation. Let's see. Very popular question about bedding and bed sizes and lofting and where there are lofts, where there aren't lofts, all of that.
That's a great question. Every one of the beds in the residence halls can be adjusted to different heights. Some of the beds more so than others just because of the nature of the frame that they're on, but they can be adjusted. They are all extra long twins. So when you're buying sheets and other bedding items, please make sure you purchase those specific sizes. If you are truly concerned about what to bring to campus, when you arrive, don't feel like you can't run off campus for a little while and go to a local store and pick up your sheets if you find that whatever you do bring from home doesn't actually fit. We do have other things that have, you recently received a mailing from the Residence Hall Association, or if you haven't received it yet, you will soon. And that actually has bedding and other items in there that are designed specifically for the beds that we have at Emory.
Okay. Maybe you and I can answer this one together because it doesn't pertain specifically to either one of us necessarily. But the question is, what other dining options are available on campus besides the duck?
Well, variety is the spice of life, right? Well, and we want to offer different dining options on campus. The Duck, the Dobbs University Center Dining Hall, is the main dining hall on campus, which is where your meal plan will work. We also have the Cox Dining Hall that is more of a food court. So you'll see different restaurants in there, and it's currently under renovation. So if you're on campus, you can kind of peek your head into there just to kind of see what the space is like, but you won't actually be able to go in and enjoy a fine dining experience in Cox. We also have other locations like Zaya, which is kind of has a Mediterranean feel to it. There are different cafes located throughout campus. One of the most popular ones is called the Green Bean. It was actually started by students and is a fair trade and organic coffee. We know that there are a lot of students out there with an interest in those two pieces in particular. So consider getting your coffee from the Green Bean. We recently opened a Dunkin' Donuts on campus for all of those major foodies out there. We know how much you enjoy a donut in the morning. And then around Emory's campus, we have Emory Village, which has other restaurants and dining options in case you just want to get off campus and walk down to that area.
And can you explain the difference while we're talking about food between Dooley dollars and Eagle dollars?
I'll try my best.
Okay.
Dooley dollars are those that will be added to your meal plan when you actually select a meal plan. So you can use those at different campus locations, such as Cox Dining Hall. There are a few options off campus, like Domino's Pizza, that you can even use those at, but you have to visit Domino's. You won't be able to call in or place an order online. You can also use those Dooley dollars at Zaya and any other on-campus location. The Eagle dollars, actually, let me correct myself, can be used off campus. So for those who are interested in that pizza from Domino's, you can use those Eagle dollars there. And that's money that you put on your card on your own. That won't automatically be added in any way, but you can add that money onto your Emory card, which is what our student ID is called, your Emory card, through your Opus account.
Great. A couple more questions about food, and then we'll move on. If you could talk about the meal plan options for freshmen, and the other question that has been coming up is about vegan and vegetarian options, and maybe we could include gluten-free options in that as well.
And I'll preface all of this by saying that if you have any questions that are not asked regarding your dining experience on campus, to please visit emory.edu/dining. That has the full amount of information you need regarding meal plans, regarding Dooley dollars and Eagle dollars, as well as any questions you may have about vegan, vegetarian, and gluten-free items on campus. So please visit that. But if you do go to the Duck for your dining option, you can there are vegan options available. Vegan, vegetarian options available, but also for those students who may prefer the gluten-free option.
Okay, great. As Ryan mentioned, I know a lot of you have questions about dining, and if we didn't get to those, the best thing to do is to go to emory.edu/dining, and that is probably going to be your best source of information. Another question that has been coming up is about laundry. Where do students do the laundry? How do they pay for laundry? Does it go on their Emory card? How does laundry work?
Every residence facility on campus, that anyone that you'll be living in, has a laundry room in it. There is you can either use your coins, or you can use those Eagle dollars, like I talked a little bit about earlier, to do your laundry. So that's really the primary option that most students use. There is some students do. I unfortunately can't remember the name of it, but there is an option for some students who wish to have their laundry given to a company that will take it off campus, clean it for you, and then deliver it back to you. But we really encourage you to use the laundry facilities on campus.
Okay, great. Let's see here. What do we got? There is a question, either one of us could answer this, about the location of Emory relative to Atlanta. And then I know, Ryan, that part of your goal with FYE is to expose students not only to Emory, but also to get them involved in the greater community. So maybe you can answer both of those questions at the same time.
Emory's campus is located, it's really kind of a running joke, but it really is almost 20 minutes from anything. If you take one of our shuttles, or if you take our mass transit system, which is MARTA, you can get to almost anywhere that you need to go on there. We offer regular shuttle transportation to grocery stores in the area. We also have a shopping mall called Lenox Mall, which does have a shuttle every weekend. But we really, besides those optional opportunities for you to get off campus, we'll offer a lot of opportunities that both social and educational and service oriented with our partners on campus. I think one of the most visible ones that we work with is Volunteer Emory, which really takes you all over the city and to some of the places that you may not normally see in your average weekend activities while you're here on campus. So please take advantage of those. But really, anytime there are opportunities to get off campus and explore the city, we really encourage you to do that too, because you never know what opportunity may exist and what partners we found off campus to give you kind of a behind-the-scenes tour. We have friends and alumni of Emory who work for the Coca-Cola Company, the CNN Center, and so we're trying to work with some of those friends off campus who can give you kind of that behind-the-scenes look to guests who really don't have that access like we do.
Great. there are some questions coming up about cleaning the residence hall rooms. Do students clean their own bathrooms? How does that work?
That's really a great question. The students are responsible for cleaning their own space. Once we kind of give you the key, we trust you with that space, and so we hope that you will keep it clean so that you certainly aren't held accountable for any damages that may occur, but also for the benefit of everybody else on the hall. You may be sharing the space with somebody else, so consider that when you're cleaning your stuff up. But even if you're living on your own, you kind of want to create your own space. So make sure that you keep it clean. We have vacuums in every building that you can borrow from the resident advisors, and they'll be able to explain that process when you arrive on campus. If you live in one of the suites, you'll be responsible for cleaning those bathrooms on your own. The bathrooms aren't too large; it's not unmanageable, and we we do have programs on what do you need to do to help keep your space clean and make sure that your roommates and suite mates in that situation are all happy. Any of the community spaces are maintained by our custodial staff, but when you walk into a space, this really is your home. And even though there's somebody else who may be cleaning those spaces for you, please be respectful that somebody will be coming in there to clean it. And it's much more of a benefit to you to keep it as clean as you can.
Okay. Ryan, are there spaces in the rooms where students can store their valuables, locked cabinets or anything?
Some of the rooms do have a cabinet in there with a padlock, not the padlock itself, but an adjustable lock on it that you may want to put a padlock on. At the same time, though, we don't encourage you to have too many valuable items stored in one space because it's not the best option for you to take. So again, like the bicycles I mentioned earlier, you may want to store those outside with a lock. For your computers, please make sure you have those with you at all times. What we see happen a lot of times is if students are in the library or in the dining hall or in other common spaces, is they leave their computer sitting there, they leave their phone there, they leave their iPad, iPod, and then when they return, it's disappeared, which is a very unfortunate situation. So please make sure if you do get up to go to the bathroom, if you get up to go speak with your friends, that you take those items with you so that they don't walk away on their own.
Great. We've had a lot of questions about banking options, and that doesn't really have necessarily anything specifically to do with housing, but I will mention that there are banks on campus. The Emory Alliance Credit Union is actually on campus. Within walking distance of campus, there are Bank of America, SunTrust, and Wells Fargo, and there are ATMs for all of those banks on campus as well. When you arrive for orientation, those banks will also be represented at the info fair. So if you want to, while your family or your parents are here with you, you can open an account with any of those banks during orientation. So it's not absolutely something that you have to take care of before you get here. There's been some questions about if they can nail things into the walls, that type of thing. You can add on to this, but I think the best thing to do maybe is to check out the website, because I know that that is in there in the what not to bring section of your website. Is there anything you wanted to?
I think that's a great point to bring up, Tanya. That students want to decorate their rooms, which is great. We want to make sure you feel comfortable in your space, and putting up posters and other things on your walls is something that is acceptable. What we do ask is that you make sure that what you use to adhere those posters or other items to the walls can be removed at the end of the year. We do allow small tacks or nails at minimum. That means that please don't use nails all over the walls, but if you use a few here and there, please make sure they're small so that they are not too obvious when you leave your room. A lot of students use adhesives that they find in stores, in the college section. What I'd like to share with you right now is that those really don't come off the wall very easily. And so right now I'm working with many students who have just moved out for the summer who are saying, well, I purchased this from the college section of whatever store I bought it from. Shouldn't it have come off the wall? And that's what sells to college students, are those things. But what those stores don't realize is that it just doesn't come off the wall very easily. A lot of students use those 3M command strips, And if used properly, those will come off the wall pretty easily, but just make sure you follow those instructions so that you don't rip the paint off the wall when you're taking things down.
Great. I think this may be our last question, and it's not a very fancy question. Can you talk a little bit about how the restrooms are split up in the residence halls, if they're done by gender, by floor? How does that work?
Every hall has at least one community bathroom per floor. And so if there are multiple community bathrooms on that floor, they're divided by gender. So men will have one community bathroom assigned to them and women for the other. Almost every building has a single gender bathroom or a full single occupancy bathroom, however you wish to consider that. And those are almost alongside those community bathrooms. So on some of the floors, they may be split by a lobby. Others may be split by just location in general. But you'll be able to find those out on our website when you look at the floor plans. So just go ahead and view those if you have questions about where bathrooms may be located.
Great. I think that we are coming to the end of our time together. In a minute, when we're totally finished, we will put up a slide at the very end that we'll leave up for a few minutes. So if you need to jot down some of the information for how to contact housing help, to find Ryan's website, that type of thing. If you have any questions that we didn't get around to today, we apologize. But again, the best way to contact Ryan's folks is by emailing housinghelp, all one word, at learnlink.emory.edu. And again, we'll post that information at the end as well. If you have any other non-housing related questions or general orientation questions, feel free to contact us again at ecorientation@learnlink.emory.edu, or you can call the orientation hotline at 404-727-9000. Just a few quick wrap-up notes. We have been recording this webinar this evening, so if you would like to go back and watch it over and over and over again, show your friends, your family that weren't able to join you tonight, it'll be up on YouTube and Blackboard very soon. We have three more webinars actually coming up. Our next one will be Wednesday, July 11th. We're taking the week off next week for the 4th. But we hope you'll join us again on July 11th, where we're going to start talking about first-year academic requirements. So I noticed there were lots of questions coming in about class registration and academic-related questions, and that is going to be your chance to get some information about general education requirements and academics. Following that, the week after that, on Tuesday, July 17th, we will be talking about student involvement on campus, finding your niche, finding your passion, how to get involved, and then we will wrap up our webinar series this summer with a final session on academics, and we're actually going to talk about Opus. We'll show you how to put classes in your shopping cart, how to look for classes, and how to navigate Opus a little bit. So that's what we have coming up for you for the rest of the summer. We hope you'll join us again. Registration for the July 11th webinar will be open by the end of the week, and we'll make sure that you get information about that. So thanks for joining us. We hope to see you soon.
The preceding program is copyrighted by Emory University.